Does your family have insurance? Imagine a nation that not only did not have insurance, but had the opposite of insurance. During a period without an event that it might insure itself against, like a major war or an economic catastrophe, this country is falling madly into debt. The United States today is plunging towards sovereign default. In very rough terms, the gross domestic product to debt ratio, what I will call the wherewithal index, dropped from almost 2 to 1 in the years 2008 to 2012. Even if we assume better times, and some slowing down, this index is heading to where Greece now is, about a zero point 0.7 or zero point 0.8 in the wherewithal index by 2016. And there's little to stop the descent. Since the 1990s, presidential campaigns have made debt reduction a central issue, but not even the Clinton years was the fall reversed. When one considers a formula of empty promises plus a 50% fall in 4 years, multiplied by the dereliction of a political process that has decided nothing about what may be sacrificed, it is time for citizens to brace themselves for the consequences of default. Modern-day Greece shows something about what these consequences are. An elderly person with chronic psoriasis will go untreated. Pension plans will be compromised. But Greece itself remains poised to fall further, and this is where history becomes a guide to what we may now expect. Nations facing chronic indebtedness today, including the United States, are facing not only debt, but what I call the passing of the scarlet number, the sign of shame America wishes not to wear. This is a wherewithal index of 0.5 or less. When the wherewithal index passes this threshold, a new and even more menacing specter appears. This is the interest on the debt. A nation that reaches this point of shame will find its interest payments absorbing a government's entire activity. Like the second beast in Revelations 13, interest on the debt will become so massive and so demanding that it will eclipse the first problem and perhaps even put it out of reach. What will life be like when the United States passes a scarlet number? Consider these 3 scenarios from history of nations that have hit this level of indebtedness. Phase 1, or a wherewithal index of about 0.4, would approximate the state of Germany in 1923 during the Weimar years. In this case, both the debt and the interest are so overwhelming that the government must consider a forced handling over of natural resources or inflation of the currency. The German predilection for the latter was ruinous, but as noted by Tony Judt in his recent history of Europe, it at least kept the nation strong enough for its economy to rebound in the 1930s. German decision to hyperinflate their currency wiped out the nation's middle class. Security was destroyed. People's savings were wiped out. The only way to survive was to break the law by acquiring foreign currency or dealing with the black market. So many zeros were added to every economic transaction that Germans suffered from zero stroke, a paralysis that came from trying to ascertain every purchase and every credit. In such an economy, sexual demands of store owners with limited supplies, the breakup of the family, and ever more eerie government intrusions, such as forcing companies to employ the unemployed, become a daily reminder of the tragedy. And then there is a wherewithal index of about 0.3. This approximates the state of Venezuela in 1902. In this scenario, imagine all the terrors above, in addition to foreign invasion and civil war. In this development, the government is seen as a con man both within and outside of the nation. Such a government cannot last, and violence will bring it down. Consider Phase 3, Haiti in 1915, with the wherewithal index of about half of that of Venezuela in 1902. Now, in addition to all the above, we find the government forcing the citizens into corvée labor. This is another name for slavery. Though this seems extreme, citizens were actually shot by U.S. Marines in 1950 for attempting to evade their work, and all inhabitants in Haiti were expected to perform. Though the American invasion has been pictured as cruel, by such historians as Laurence Dubois, there was in fact no other way to lift such a derelict nation back into the black. By this point, Haiti's infrastructure had become so completely Bolgerized that someone had to rebuild it. As it turned out, corvée labor did work to rebuild the island's beleaguered roads, and Haiti was able to pay its debts. The United States is plunging into a scenario none of us want. Is our democracy strong enough to see the peril and act before it's too late?